I'm Haley Hunter with the LPGA Women's Network, and I'm honored to introduce you to a woman whose story is sure to leave you not only inspired, but ready to take on any barriers of your own.
My husband's friends' wives, they would meet at the golf course every Saturday and Sunday morning, 8 o'clock. They would play their round of golf, and when they would get around the 15th hole, they would call me to come up and have lunch. And I did. So I would go and I'd hang out. And then just as golfers do, they talk about their morning round. I didn't really have much to contribute. And then sometimes they would go back out, and then I'd go back home.
Born without fingers on her left hand, Gianna Rojas spent most of her childhood and early adult life sitting on the sidelines.
So we tried to figure out how to get me to go out and swing, just so I could play, even if it's just a couple times with them, which was a difficult journey because there wasn't anybody out there going, hey lady, I can teach you to swing one-handed, because not a lot of instructors had been exposed to people that have challenges. Trying to figure out how to play was hard because this arm is shorter than this arm. Right. Most instructors want me to get 2 points of contact on the ball, but if I do that, then I'm not square. Yeah. So we had to kind of figure out, we tried a couple of different prosthetic devices, and it was all more of a hazard and a hindrance than for me to just let it go. So my husband and I just kept figuring out a way, and once it clicked, we were like, all right, there you go. This is how we're going to do it. Don't really need the other hand. I can usually drive about 176 yards was my longest drive.
One hand. That's incredible.
Through Adaptive Golfers, Gianna shows that no barrier is too great to keep anyone from playing golf, whether they be physical, cognitive, health, or age-related. If there's a will, there's a way.
So we just wanted the industry to basically see us. Right. You could talk about it, but to actually see it in action is pretty breathtaking sometimes. What we actually do is we look at what the person's expectations are. Are you someone who just wants to be able to come out to a clinic? You want the camaraderie of being around people at a clinic, and that's mostly what you can do. Or are you looking to get out on course? Because there's a different pathway to think of on the training. Or are you, like us, want to also get out and to be in the competitive world? There are U.S. disabled golf teams. There are different golf tournaments, adaptive golf tournaments and disabled golf tournaments around the country all year long. We never ask, what can't you do? We want to ask, what can you do? So we try to teach from that ability out idea. And then we'll just work trial and error to find what product, what club, what swing technique works best.
Gianna is a decorated 2-time division winner in the adaptive and paralong drive competition. Her belief is that nothing is impossible. No matter what challenge you face on the course or in life, you simply have to try it a different way and find what works for you. As someone who's been privileged enough to never have to play golf with any barriers, Gianna insisted that I should try some of these techniques for myself so I could truly understand how talented these adaptive golfers really are. When she wanted me to try to hit a golf ball one-handed while sitting down and then blindfolded, I figured whatever contact I made with the ball would have been sheer luck. But Gianna knew that I could figure it out.
Mother and her daughter, her 13-year-old daughter, were sitting on the couch watching the news, and they got to the part where I was hitting, and the woman told me that her daughter turned to her and said, Mom, well, if she can do it, maybe you think I can learn to play golf. Now, her daughter has less than what I have. She's above the elbow. And she said that she doesn't put herself out there. She doesn't want to really go out with the girls, and she gets very depressed and she stays in a lot. She's very isolated. So when the mother came to me the next morning, this woman comes running up to me and she hugs and picks me up, and she's shaking and crying, and I'm almost crying with her. She said, I have to tell you how inspiring you are. She said, my daughter turned to me after that, seeing that, and now she wants to go out and play golf. I've been teased, I've been left out, I've been called names, I've been picked on, I've been bullied, I got locked in a locker. Had I known enough back then about what I know about golf now, I would have been able to turn around to those bullies and say, you know what, not today, I gotta go play golf. Go pick on somebody else.
The work Gianna does with adaptive golfers is about so much more than giving people the opportunity to play golf. It's about showing people with what may appear to be limitations that anything, including golf, can be achieved by changing your approach.
To learn more about the adaptive golfers and how you can help support and get involved with Gianna's organization, you can visit adaptivegolfers.org. And stay tuned for more stories of inspiration from me and the LPGA Women's Network.
The EGA European Championship for Golfers with Disability is a truly remarkable event.
It's maybe the most important moment of the year for me because it would mean a lot to have back-to-back victory in this event.
We get to play against the best players in the world. We have an incredibly competitive set of guys here, and the EGA have done an awesome job of putting it all together. I'm world champion long drive. I had a winning drive of 358 yards, won by 5, and get to call myself world champion now, which I'm very proud of.
I want people to treat us like sportsmen. We are great sportsmen, a lot of us. I have 5 British Open championships and 1 US Open and 2 one-arm world championships.
I play since I think I'm 7 years old, so it's a long time ago. And I play if I have time, every time, also every day, every second. Every time I play golf, I forget everything around me, maybe school or problems in life. And it's made fun and I like it.
It gives me the feeling that I'm a person between normal person, that I can play with them and against them and to beat them sometime, and some victory for the disability. It's something fantastic. I really like it. Sometimes I hate it, but when it's my result, it's not good. But every day I enjoy like crazy.
Anyone can come to one of these events and watch us fight it out there. They will respect us as players and as an athletes, not as, feeling sorry or feeling bad for us.
Wasn't that an amazing video? Inspirational. It really was. And we're so happy to have the inspirational golf accessibility legend, Gianna Rojas, with us right now. Gianna, how are you?
Hello, Abilities Expo. I really miss not seeing everyone in person. We've been a staple at the Metro Abilities Expo for the last 3-4 years. So we're missing a lot of our participants that come by. But we just want to give a big shout out and say hello. And we're so happy to be here. I'm so glad we get this opportunity.
No, we are too. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, some of the questions that are coming in, and that is, how do people in wheelchairs get around a golf course?
Well, if you saw in the last video, there was a gentleman that was sitting in it's what's called a paragolfer, and that paragolfer will stand them up to a standing position and allow them to freely be able to swing around their body. Now, there are other alternatives. There's also specialized golf carts that are modified. There's a company called Solo Rider, which is here in the US. They provide a single rider golf cart with the swivel seat. I think you saw it a little bit early in the video of the gentleman leaning out. So there's a couple of different ways depending on, number one, what our abilities are. And number two, we also want to be cognitive of what's going on in our bodies. If you've not able to get up into a standing position and not injure yourself, we want to get you in a solo rider. So there's just a lot of different options. And we'd be more than happy to guide anybody that needs to at adaptivegolfers.org. We'll have a resource. There's a resource page up there.
Awesome. Awesome. And does that resource help us to see which golf course are accessible for us and who kind of have these type of different equipments out there too?
It will be, I should say, in the future. That is something that is an ongoing project right now. There used to be a site where you could punch in your zip code. It's being redone. So it will be where you can punch in your zip code and it'll tell you what golf courses have adaptive carts and adaptive instructors and adaptive resources. But you can also certainly get in contact with us and we can certainly connect you with that as well. Again, it's adaptivegolfers.org. Just put your information in contact and question and we'll get right back to you.
Awesome. And let's say you get into an accessible golf cart, I'm sorry. Is there a place to store your wheelchair or do you need to keep that in your car?
No, you would want to probably keep that at the clubhouse. They will provide ADA regulations. They should provide accommodation for you.
Awesome. And when we look at your journey, Gianna, you have become such an inspiration for the disabled community, and especially when it comes to golfing, with ones who want to use that outlet as recreation. And listening to your story, did you ever imagine that just your drive and determination would be a movement, not only here in the United States, but globally?
Actually, it's not something I sat down and envisioned. It just kind of happened to me. I think something that golf was able to give to me was more than just the game as we normally would think about, or the leisure game. It actually became a sense of purpose for me. There are many people you'll talk to that have said golf has saved their lives. It gives you this sense of being part of something that everybody else is able to do. It's just the kind of like a stepping stone to everything else in your life. If you can question yourself, instead of saying, can I, start asking yourself, how can I play golf? And I'm going to keep trying everything I can until I find a way. So I guess the golf is just a stepping stone to the bigger message, is really just don't question, can I?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Here's another question. How do paragolfers navigate bunkers?
Depending on what you're in, there is a paragolfer, the machine itself, made by Autobach, and it does go down into the bunkers. I mean, I don't know if I would recommend it going down into a big potbelly bunker. There are modified rules in place for individuals with disabilities. So, those are some opportunities where you may want to choose safety and move it out of the bunker. But some of those machines, well, those ones that we showed in the last one, they do go down into the bunkers.
Awesome. Another question. came in about adapted golf clubs. What are adaptive golf clubs?
Well, anytime you're modifying your equipment, in the sense that, all right, well, I'll give you one quick example. In the sense that you are in a chair, in a seated chair, there's a putter out there called Biomech that comes with a 13-degree angle hosel right side, 13-degree angle. And the piece that connects to the golf club head itself has a 13-degree on it so that it lays flat from a seated position. Thus, it would be an adaptive golf club. Any type of modifications to equipment, different kinds of gloves that have wraps, modifications to those kinds of things would be an adaptive piece. That's twice now. I call it hiccups, my technology hiccups.
Well, it shows people that we're live, so that's the cool thing about it. So
there you go.
No, but that's awesome. And do you ever think we'll ever have accessibility golf course, just a golf course for us?
I don't know that if you're some of the terminology with accessibility would be the golf course itself. And we are, as golfers, we're not necessarily accessible.
Gotcha.
So when you're in terms of golf courses, many golf courses can be very accessible depending on what challenges you have. There are some ADA regulations that are out there, although they are not enforced. And there are just some things you can do. Again, we have a lot of that information on adaptivegolfers.org. Just small modifications like making sure the front tee box is accessible, meaning that there's no curb, there's no stairs. Mm-hmm. That for someone with a mobility challenge, whether it's even walking, I mean, you think about illness, aging, and injuries, even just walking. I just had a hip replacement. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm disabled, but going into up and down hills to get to the tee box sometimes can, so it depends on the course, it depends on the person. And, but we have ways of making courses more accessible. As far as totally accessible, you might be looking at simulated or indoor environments, which are popping up all over the place. There are indoor short courses that are popping up. There are, Top Golfs and Drive Shacks, and there's Indian Wells has a course out there at night. I mean, there's just so many things with courses now. It's not just what you would typically think of as a golf course.
Absolutely. And what's your favorite course you've ever golfed at?
All right, so I'm a bit biased. I have to say Barefoot. I've played it the most often. Also, we actually have a townhome there, but I really, really, really love. There's 4 courses there, so I've played all of them, but my favorite is Norman's course. So, Norman at Barefoot would be my favorite course.
I love it. That's awesome. And when you look at just how people are embracing golf, members from the disabled community and another different segments of the population out there, it's really becoming just a game that everyone can enjoy.
Yes.
And what can we do as the disabled community to help talk it up more so we can get more involved in golfing so they can experience some of the great things that you've been able to experience?
Well, going back to my own journey, that's why I walk the talk. I'm using my story and myself as that example for that young girl that we talked about to see. So if you get out there and whether it's for therapy, using golf on a therapy level at a clinic, which we run monthly clinics once we get past all this crazy COVID stuff. But whether it's therapy or whether it's just getting out to a driving range and social, going out to maybe some of the Top Golfs or the indoors, there's also a competitive pathway now, as you saw in the last video. There's a world ranking for golfers with disabilities that is designated by the USGA and the RNA. So it's the world amateur rankings, but it's this particular thing. So this is on a global level. You can go as far as you want with this. I say the first thing to do is just touch a club, even if it's in your room, or just throw down a foam ball in a garbage can and just roll it in there and see if you like it.
Awesome. That's amazing. And you're an amazing person too, Gianna. Really inspirational.
Thank
We
you.
enjoy having you in person at the expo, and we equally enjoy having you virtually as well too, giving us this very vital information when it comes to golfing. And if you don't mind, can you please give the website out again for us, please?
Absolutely. It's hiccup. It's adaptive golf. It's adaptivegolfers.org. You can also reach me at Gianna, Gianna, at adaptivegolfers.org. And I am more than happy to answer any questions, guide anybody to any different clinics. Hopefully we'll get our own started really soon again, because we have many of you that are probably watching now that have been to our clinics. So, stay tuned, keep watching.
Awesome. Gianna, you are amazing, and we look forward to seeing you in person. Okay.
I like to end everything with this little movement.
All right.
I had it first though. Everybody's doing stump bump.
I love it. I love it. Back at you,
The
my friend.
stump bump. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
You too. And a huge shout out to our ASL interpreters, Darlene and Andrea. Thank you guys so much. And also our captioner. Thank you so much, Karen. You're doing an amazing job.